In a normal society, lawmakers have the ability to make laws that are not repugnant to natural justice. Their role in any nation is to ensure that the common man live in peace and live in a best law that best protect their human rights and freedom, and also ensure their growth and development. Lawmakers are not people who are in charge of constructing roads, dams, bridges, and carrying out mega structures and mega projects within the country. They are there to ensure that the executive don't carry out acts that may be repugnant to natural justice. So it is in any country of the world, but the case of Cameroon, especially within the last 4 weeks, seems to be dwindling and putting the common man to question how effective are their lawmakers and how effective are the people whom they voted to represent them. Are they acting in their interest, or are they acting in the interest of the executive or those who they think they may win favor in one way or another? This is so clear, especially when the tax of mobile phones were announced some months, close to a year ago. Several Cameroonians stood up and said no to phone tax, and with pressure, the government withdrew the phone tax system. Just as many were celebrating and preparing for a crossover of a 2022, which has been marked with 2021, that has been marked with the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest region, the Seleka rebel crisis, the Moshua and the Mashua in the far north region, just to name but these are some of the things that some Cameroonians were about to cross over. Just at the nick of time, they received text message that a 0.2% will be deducted from their electronic transfer from the different mobile money systems that operate in Cameroon, thus making it difficult for the poor, meaning if you have to send money, you have to pay a charge of 0.2%, and if you have to withdraw that same money, you have to pay 0.2%. Thus, a man who has to send 1,000 francs CFA to his mother will have to spend close to 60 francs for sending, and thus the mother will have to also spend 60 francs. Thus, 800 plus something is what will be received. However, Cameroonians have taken to social media to say no, enough is enough. But the question in their mind is, what really came to the mind of lawmakers? Were they really busy seeing the law, or did they just vote the law without looking at it? How much protection can the lawmakers give them? As far as this is concerned, it is the dwindling tax, as Senior Barrister Ewule Edward in one of our programs here said, it is a system that should not be encouraged, and urging the head of state to withdraw it. Other pundits says it is a way for government to recover revenue, and to carry out a major project that will still provide enough services for the people in Cameroon and all over the globe. However, the question still remains open-ended. What were the lawmakers thinking? Who does take the responsibility for this mobile money tax system or electronic transfer system? Is it the government that signed the law through the President of the Republic, or the lawmakers are they to be blamed for putting a law that is repugnant to natural justice? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. This is how it will be in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital, as all nations move over to see what will the Lions do as far as Olembe Stadium is concerned, as 24 nations converge in Cameroon for the 2022 African Cup of Nations, which was supposed to be in 2020 and was moved to 2022 because of the pandemic. However, the Lions are on the verge to make history at the Olembe Stadium, the first international match of African Cup of Nations so far to be played in this part of the country. Cameroonians are all in the streets to show their love for the nation. As you see, it is going to be like this. But however the case is Cameroon going to win, or is Burkina Faso going to win? However, as Cameroonians, we hope that the Lions will take hold of the competition. To begin today's edition of the program, I introduce you my guests with whom we are going to discuss briefly about AFCON before diving straight to the topic of today. He is a senior person in the field and has been creating impact as far as human rights records are concerned, the voice of the voiceless, the advocate of those who cannot defend themselves, and invest his time, resources, and energy to ensure that the poor are protected. Despite death threats and political threats hanging over him, he still moved over to ensure that he moved with what is supposed to be done. Barrister Ewule Edward, recently recognized by the United States Embassy. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis. It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning. And today is a great day for our nation. And our nation, we are hosting AFCON. AFCON is here. You know, most pundits held that Cameroon is not ready. The AFCON will not be hosted by Cameroon. Even during the last minute, when the CAF president came to Cameroon, there were so many doubts that the AFCON is not going to take place. But here we are. AFCON is today. We are having the opening match between Cameroon and Burkina Faso. But, Mr. Jarvis, which other country could have hosted this AFCON? Cameroon was just the best of the nations to host the AFCON. We are 5-time African champions. We are Olympic champions. We have players like Samuel Otofis who are 4 times winner of the African Player of the Year. We have a beautiful infrastructure. So what do you think? We have players. Cameroon is the first country that reached the quarterfinal of a FIFA World Cup. So what again could have not permitted us to host this great football jamboree? So it's a wonderful thing. The excitement is very high. Cameroonians from all walks of life, everybody's happy. The streets are full. In fact, this morning I was just coming down to Douala here for the program, and in Tiko, the Tiko municipality, just around the Tiko roundabout. Wow, it's wonderful.
Yeah, we'll be getting there.
It's wonderful. You
Okay.
go there, you see what Mayor, His Royal Highness, the Mayor of Tiko, Chief Mesoso, has done. You have a fan club. You have a fan village.
Okay.
A village for the AFCON. So
Thank
you
you.
see the momentum is high, and we are wishing the best for our Lions today.
I'll be coming to Chief Mesoso. Also here in the studio we have Ndiwum Emannuel, someone who has been very vocal as far as injustice is concerned, and he's been spearheading a movement of African youth and Africans to come together to see how they can wipe out the colonial mentality and embrace a future that will be based on African solutions for African problems. Ndiwum Emannuel is also known for his position as far as justice is concerned in the Anglophone crisis, that there must be justice and there must be fact-finding, and those who are responsible for crimes should be punished. Ndiwum Emannuel, welcome and happy Sunday.
Tah Mai, thanks for the feathers you are showering on me. I want to use this platform to greet all the viewers of House of Commons, and to say welcome to the Pharaohs of Egypt, who happen to have always been my favorite. Feel free, stay blessed. You are in Cameroon. Of course, they say l'impossible n'est pas the Camerounais. The horse has finally succeeded to go through the eye of the needle. I will be a bit contrary to Barrister Ewule, who thought that Cameroon was so better placed to host the Nations Cup. It is true that finally the horse has succeeded to go through the eye of the needle, and here we are. And we must thank God to have used all energy, be it manipulative or be it in normal sense, to get to where we are. But to say that we were ready, I think that if we were to base on readiness, Cameroon would not have been ready for many factors. But of course, there is no country in the world that can host a tournament of such magnitude based on complete readiness. That I agree. and to hail it as if it was Jesus Christ coming from heaven that Cameroon is hosting a Nations Cup. I want to borrow from his words to say that Cameroon had long failed in this domain because having champions from Cameroon, having succeeded in keeping the Nations Cup for 5 times, and from 2014 till today we did not have stadium, was a shame. It was a disgrace. It was telling us that we were enjoying talents and we were not preparing a pot where these talents could be cooked and dished to the population. So if today we are there, we only wish that all the football fans and the football actors who are in Cameroon should enjoy, and all what we need and wish them should be fair play. I don't really want to say who should win or who should not win. He who plays the best game should win the game. That is my stand.
Thank you very much. So far, I want to say a happy Sunday to you, His Majesty Chief Mesoso, Mayor of Tiko Municipality. It is very good, especially the fan zone. I was there yesterday when I was coming back from Douala. I see how it's directly opposite the council, the Tiko Council at the roundabout. I see the preparations were top gear, and so far Khan is here, and we know that the people of Tiko Municipality are watching us, and so the people also in Boya, they are watching us, Bamenda, and all the other side of the north and southwest region and Cameroon as a whole. To those of you watching us on social media, we know that people have their different predictions and their different thoughts and affiliations when it comes to deciding where their loyalty will be. It is sport, and you have the right. There is freedom of choice to decide whether or not. Barrister Ewule, when we look at this African Nations Cup briefly, we are going to talk about it for at least about 6 minutes briefly. When you look at readiness, how ready is the people of Limbe? Amidst insecurity, government seems to have stepped up security in the southwest region, because when you move each square meter, you have well-armed security personnel. How effective can this be?
Yes, I think that for now the government has taken its responsibility, and this is what we were crying since about a month ago. I called the divisional officer for Boya. I tried to reach some other top officials, and I told them that for us to start to have security for the AFCON, it should not start in January. We had to start this at around November. But thank God that they had and they started, and to say that the security is very tight. In Boya, every step you move, you see a military officer. In places like for my 17 down to Tiku, where I passed this morning, you don't have just gendarme officer, you have B. And you know the B, they are very ready for combat. So it will not be anybody who is ready to disturb this can. Please be rest assured that the security is better. In Limbe, I was in Limbe yesterday, and you needed to see the place is heavily guarded. Even though last week, this week there was a small bomb, there was a small explosion in Limbe, but the governor of the Southwest region, His Excellency Mr. Bernard Okala, assured Cameroonians and assured the people of Southwest region and all the visitors that we are going to have a wonderful camp. He visited the fan zone, the fan cultural zone in Tiko, and he assured the Tiko population and everybody who will go there to watch this afternoon, because I personally I'll be in Tiko to watch the match with, because I think everybody in Boya, everybody in Mutenge, everybody will go down to Tiko this afternoon or this evening to watch the match.
Ndiwum Emannuel, amidst insecurity in the southwest and northwest region, when you look at the reality on the ground, do you think that the security is enough for this competition so far, especially in Limbe, when we had a small explosion in Limbe? I'm sure we were with Padi Asanga here last time in the program, and he said something contrary to what you were predicting.
Well, I want to start by saying that the best security first should be personal security. No individual should count on the security described or put in place by the governor or whosoever. Because when you lost your life, it is your family that has lost you. It is not the governor. So I want to think that for 5 years, we have always had security. And things have always gone sour. Each time it was destined to go sour. That's not our wish. We are wishing a country where people will be able to, go to the field free, come out of the field free, and walk to the houses free. But I wanted to think that once more, it exposes the weakness of our government, which is already dying, which is already obsolete. That even the military men in uniform are sport lovers. Most of them would have loved to be in their civilian attires and go into the pitches and watch football. Why not? But unfortunately for them, they will not watch the matches because they need to protect the people and property for the fear of the unknown. That said, I think we cannot improvise a solution tonight to a long-standing problem that we had every measure and every opportunity to solve it, and we refuse to solve it. But then, like I said, the security of each individual should depend on that individual. If not going to the field constitutes part of your security so that you live longer, you better stay at home. If you are sure that you'll go to the field and you'll be protected, go to the field. Because I think that if I have to go to the field and come back safe, I will go. But if I have a feeling that I will go and I will not come back safe, I will not go.
No, please.
But then, life first. Your security is in your hand.
Okay.
No,
because I don't believe that
you cannot.
I don't believe that.
This is view now.
I don't believe that the military that are there can completely secure the security of every individual Tah Mai, because they are securing the arena where the matches will be going on.
No, they are securing the entire. I'm talking about the.
They are not securing households, Barrister Ewule, and the people who constitute the spectators comes from individual.
Okay. So your point is
yes,
limiting the security at the roads.
Yes,
limiting the security at some busy areas.
It's not enough. No, it's not enough.
It means that each house in the north southwest region.
Not about each house. Why not each neighborhood?
No, but no. To be honest.
No, if we wanted to be very sure that we have security.
Thank you. I think this is not the topic for today.
Yeah, please, but let me just say something. Let me just
30 seconds.
Let me just say something. Let us be honest. The government has taken its responsibility. You are in Douala. I am in Buea. I live in Buea. All the corners in Buea, you have security officials. Even the bushes in Mutengene, the bushes in Tola.
But you are just confirming what he said. But his problem is that some major neighborhood. I was in Munya yesterday.
Yes, and the security.
I was in Munya yesterday.
Yes.
I went around to see how the atmosphere for the southwest region, how prepared we are. But I was in Munya yesterday. The security, the beefness of the security only ended in May 17. I have to be honest with you. Barrister, I'm talking about a journalistic position.
Mr. Tah Mai Jarvis, I need to. You see me, I'm very honest.
No, Barrister, you are indirectly saying that all of us here are not honest.
No, I am saying that.
No, if you say you are an honest person,
I am saying that. You people are honest, but I'm saying that I went to Munya. And Munya is heavily
Barrister.
Even in Tiko.
No. Barrister, this is not the topic for today. But however, I'm telling you from a journalistic point of view, I was in Munya yesterday. My house is in Munya. I went to Munya. I went to Buea. I went to Tiko. But I can be very sure with you that in Munya, it was normal security that has been there since the conflict started. Very clear. But in other localities, especially my 17 bus station, right up from my 17 bus station, right up, it has been stepped up. We have heavily armed men. So his problem was in some of these neighborhoods where people will leave to go to Limbe.
Yes.
This neighborhood to should benefit from the government assume responsibility. That the government assume responsibility should be shared.
Anyway, no, wait, just 1 second. Just 1 second. I just want to say that this responsibility should not end with our military. What I saw this morning in Tiku is that the mayor of Tiku, Chief Mesoso, has put up a vigilante group to make sure that people who are coming to watch the match at the fan zone are being secured. So these are something that the various communities too should take responsibility. We could have small vigilante group to take care of our community that could work hand in glove with the military to see that we have security. I saw more than 50 young boys dressed with attire to protect the fan zone. So anybody who is going to watch the match in Tiku should feel secured, and even people who are going to the field in Limbe should feel secured.
This is not the topic for today. We are moving straight away to the topic. Let's take on some few messages. Barrister seems to be in the part of government where security is always represented, but people are being killed daily. It's coming from an anonymous writer. This other one, he says, happy Sunday to you all in the studio. I think Cameroon is prepared for the match, but insecurity too is a problem in the people of North and Southwest region. This one says, greetings to you, House of Commons. I appreciate you all for the time and energy towards nation building. To me, the government and acceptance of MTN implement the tax are to be blamed. The MTN company doesn't pay tax. Doesn't it pay tax in global company tax for its services? Is mobile money not part of its services, or the company tax paid does not cover mobile money services? Now the government applied this tax, which happened to be double tax. If all MTN pay tax, which I'm certain it does, when will they apply tax too for recharge of airtime and bundles? I guess it will be 20% this time around. It's coming from Cyril in Boya. Happy Sunday to you. I begin the program by asking you this on the main topic for today. Ndiwum Emannuel, what were the members of parliament, the senator, thinking as far as implementing this controversial bill? Voting it is concerned.
Yes, you see, these are the kind of things that when they happen, they reconfort my position. You know, in 2020 that the legislative elections took place. I am one of the people who called on Cameroonians not to be a party to this legislative election, because it was like putting the cart before the horse. They did not listen. The people manipulated their way to the glass house and Guayaquil. And these are some of the acts of government, which is the executive. I will take the experience of Ghana. A similar thing took place in Ghana, I think 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And you saw physical combat, Tah Mai Jarvis. That is what it means to represent your people. But we have a group of lazy people who have successfully become.
How do you call elected officials?
Who have successfully.
We take exceptions to that.
They are lazy in their domain of line, and I maintain it. They are not representing the people. They have successfully become predators to our national financial resources, but they are not doing what they were supposed to be doing. That's why I say they are lazy. In Ghana, when such a topic came up, those who were for met face to face with those who were against. You saw how chairs were broken, Tah Mai. That is how people are represented. Unfortunately, in Cameroon, people still have the courage to address them as honorable. I think these people should be addressed horrible. They have nothing to offer. They go and spend a whole lot of time in Yaoundé chasing young girls, chasing their businesses, their private businesses. When they come back to the National Assembly, they sit sleeping, waiting for the government to send any bill. When the government sends a bill, they just get up from their slumber, they clap, it has been endorsed. Now, tell me, if they were representing the people, I overheard somebody yesterday over a sister channel, Tah Mai, defending that Eco Bank and all the other banks, that Cameroonians are ignorant because this tax is an aspect of development and we are blaming it. And I was asking my question, how does this tax benefit a grandmother in Akwaya? How does this tax benefit a grandfather at Achain, Njinikom, Bello, Buabua, Wum, Ngwa, Abu, and all these places where mobile money was the only loan newest source to save these people in terms of emergency? Just consider before in your editorial, you mentioned 60 francs as per against 1,000 francs.
Yes, because now, normally before, we used to have to, MTN was taking 0.5.
Yes.
And which was still high. Now government imposed 0.2.
And it was one way. Let's not remember.
One way.
It was only one way.
It was two way too. Because if I have to send you money for MTN, 1,000 francs for MTN, yeah. They have to deduct transfer fee from me.
Yeah, and you
now you that receiving, they have to deduct transfer withdrawal fee from you. Means that if I have to send you 1,000, at least I must send 1,100, so that you will actually withdraw the 1,000. But if I send exactly 1,000, you will not withdraw 1,000. Unlike the case with express exchange, which I only pay charges of sending. Now mean that if I send you 1,000, at the end of the day, the 2% now plus the 0.5% is 0.7% per sending, both MTN and government, and 0.7% for receiving, both MTN and government, means 0.14% at the end of the day. So you end up with 800 and something francs if you have to send only 1,000.
Your mathematics is very right, Tah Mai. And that is why I'm coming out to link it direct to the topic. Who is to be blamed? The senators and the parliamentarians, no doubt, are not doing their job. They are not doing their job because they are under the whims and caprices of the government. Instead of them controlling the government action, the government has been controlling the action the other way around. And you know that our government is in difficulties. We must be honest enough to acknowledge that with the different wars that they are fighting, Northwest, Southwest, Boko Haram, the East region with the anti-Balakas, they need money.
And so the Muskum.
And the Arab Shuas and the Muslim, with the refugee rising situation, increasing situation in that part of the country. But then, if the only way to refill the account to continue with their wars is by killing the already dying man, then I see that this tax is coming like trying to kill an already dead corpse that is already lying in the mortuary. So I think something is very wrong, and particularly very wrong on the side of the government, because if the government that is controlling the actions of the Senate and the Parliament had the people in mind, Tah Mai Jarvis, they would have looked into it to think that people do not have access to banks in remote areas. How are they going to survive this economic stress?
We'll be coming back to you. Barrister Ewule, this controversial tax, you are a legal mind, and there is something in law that a law must not be repugnant to natural justice. This tax has been described as a tax against the poor, taxing the poor for being poor. Yes. Who then takes responsibility? Is it the government that the people are blaming, or the senators and MPs whom the people voted to represent them?
Okay, I want to start from the point that in Cameroon, per the constitution, we have three arms of government. You have the executive, which is there to execute the project that have been put in place. You have the legislation, which is there to make laws, to vote laws, and you have the judiciary. These are the three arms of government per our constitution. But if you look at the way things are done in our country, we see just one arm of government which is trying to control the other two arms of government. And that is the executive, which is all trying to use the other arms of government like rubber stamps. To be honest, this is exactly what we have been facing in our country today. Can you imagine that since from 1982, when the New Deal government came into place, and from 1990, when multi-party politics was reintroduced, do you know that the way our country has been run, we don't have any private member bill? All bills come from the presidency. All bills come from the legislation. And the way our country is run is in such a way that when a bill comes from the presidency, it is always very difficult for that bill to be challenged by the House. It is a type of system that has been put in place in such a way that the executive controls the parliament and controls even the judiciary. Because look at it, Mr. Jarvis, the way that bill is a government bill. It's a bill that comes from the executive, that comes from the presidency. And now the way the bill comes, looking at the majority of CPDM parliamentarians in the House, CPDM senators in the House, the bill just have an easy way to go through. And I spoke to some of those parliamentarians. I spoke to some of those senators. And I told them, they said, Barrister Ewule, you are a human rights lawyer, but you should know that there is what is known in our party as party discipline. I asked myself, are you there for party discipline, or you are there to serve your people? Are you sent there by? So you see the way, you see what is happening. People go there for, it is a party that put them there. They were not put there by the people. So that is what they feel. And so they don't go there to serve the people, but they go there to serve their party. And that is exactly what has put us where we are now. You see, in the past, when Justice Paul Labine was parliamentarian for CPDM, for Akwaya, he was the only CPDM parliamentarian who went against party discipline, not to vote a particular bill. But you see, now it is very difficult for a parliamentarian. To be honest with you, this particular tax on mobile money is a very what emergencies can I use? Is a very bad tax. It's a tax that was done in malaise. It is not a tax that was done to salvage, to solve the issue of a common man. That is how they started. Do you know that in our country is the only country that does not protect the consumer? Can you imagine that MTN keeps on exploiting Cameroonians? Orange, all of these people keep on exploiting Cameroonians. But to be honest with you, nothing is done by our government to protect the consumers. Look at this tax. The tax, there is no corresponding increase in the income of civil servants, or there's no corresponding increase. Why do you impose this tax? So what I'm trying to say is, the way our country is run, both the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government, both of them have failed Cameroonians. Both of them have failed Cameroonians, because the legislative arm of government should be able to see that its actions are there to protect the people of Cameroon. Even you see the law. Do you know that the way this bill is? I am a human rights lawyer, and I am one of those people that I could say that I can challenge this bill in court. But the way our constitution has been crafted, do you know that I don't have competence before the Constitutional Council? Because this is a constitutional issue that had to be challenged.
So who then have competence to challenge this bill?
The only persons that can challenge this bill, it is two-third members of the National Assembly or the Senate. You have the president of the National Assembly or the president of the Senate, the president of the Republic, or some ministers where these bills is touching them. So an individual like us, like me, a human rights lawyer, I cannot constitute my team and take the matter to court. Mr. Jarvis, do you know that when internet was shut down in the southwest and northwest region of Cameroon, I was then in Veritas Law Office. I and my learned friend Barrister Ndiwum Emannuel, prepared a case, and I was part of that case. He filed a case before the Constitutional Council talking about the illegal act of cutting internet in the two English regions of Cameroon. And do you know what the Constitutional Council said? That he lacked competence. And if you look at the Constitution, he actually lacks the competence. That all those people who fight, they lack competence because they have reduced in such a way that me and you, we cannot challenge that bill. So under normal situation, if the legislation pass a particular bill like this and the executive ratify it, the only place that Cameroonians should find solace is in the court. We had to, in order to normal situation, this bill was supposed to be, some human rights lawyers, human rights organizations, NGOs were supposed to come together and we take this matter to court, but we cannot under our present dispensation.
But we were told by Senior Barrister Achu Julius that an individual can still sue the government to court if they feel the bill is not correct.
How? Which court are you? Which court can you sue the government under normal situation? No, please, no. We have you. The only court that you can go is the administrative court, per the judicial organization law, when it's an administrative act. But this one is not only an administrative act; it's also a legislative act. That the only court that have competence to hear about issues of legislation, issues of laws, it is the Constitutional Council. And who are those people who have competence to bring matters before the Constitutional Council? So the way our country is run, our country is run in such a way that it is so difficult. Let me tell you, I was one of those lawyers who prepared to file a case against brasseries when they increase the prices of beer. And people say, oh, barrister, you are a drunkard, that's why you want to sue. I say, no, it's not a matter of being drunk. Brasseries went ahead and increased the prices of all beer. They increased the price. I think it was 50 francs. And I was very furious. I wrote and I was prepared to take them to court. Because they said I was a drunkard, this beer, they should increase it, Christians. But I told them that it was wrong. Everybody will be affected. When you increase the prices, when you add taxes that touches on the common man, like the mobile money, that a mother in the village, look at, we have crisis in the southwest and northwest. We have crisis everywhere. We have internally displaced people. We have people who are suffering, and the government who is passing the
So who take the responsibility now?
The responsibility is both the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government. Both of them have failed Cameroon.
So now it means that from the constitutional level, the lawyers are helpless.
We are helpless. I am a human rights lawyer. Those are the cases that I would like to take up in countries like Nigeria, Ghana, in all of these places. The way their laws have been, the laws are liberal that we can take. Or in Nigeria, and other places, do you know the people that are taking? It will even be an attorney general of a particular region or the procureur general that will take the government or the attorney general of the federation or take them to court to explain to Cameroonians what is the interest of this bill.
Thank you. It means from what you're saying, it means that Cameroon is not I'm not normal country.
No, some
because you have been using the allusion that in a normal country, I am saying so by chance saying that Cameroon is not a normal country.
And that is why we are praying.
No, Barrister, is it yes or no? No, Barrister.
Cameroon is a normal country. We have laws, but to be honest with you, there are a lot of things in this our country that we need reform.
Okay, Barrister.
That is something that we should be honest about.
Ndiwum Emannuel, you've listened to Barrister Ewule that in fact from this point we are helpless.
We are helpless.
Because
Tah Mai, you see, when I listen to Barrister speak, it's a message to the man in Uyumojok, to the man in Tinto, to the man in Baturi, to know that we are finished. Because if Barrister is helpless, whereas these poor people could run to him for help, we are finished. And it joins my opinion that Cameroon needs to be remade. Do you know that Cameroon would have been the best country in Africa if not for bad governance? Just take the case of bilingualism. We have visitors in our country today, and don't be surprised that most of them will face this problem of language barrier, because maybe they will be in a situation where they speak English to somebody who cannot say good morning in English, or speaks French to someone who cannot say good morning, bonjour in French. Meaning that our government has abandoned those things that could have sold the image of Cameroonians positively, both national and internationally. Then coming back to the topic at hand, what Barrister is saying, I think he's very honest. We know that in this country...
So you are confirming what he's saying?
No, I confirm.
I'm talking about the issue of honesty now.
No. When it is honest, I should say it is honest. When
he was saying that he is honest and we...
No, I don't.
No, it's not on that topic. We long left that line of thought, Tah Mai. I'm talking on on what we are at hand. He's honest enough to tell us that their hands are tied. And remember that once in this country in 1992, a sitting magistrate, Ndwum said it, that my hands were tied. So Barrister's hands are tied today, but it is not a phenomenon of today. He's not alone. There are many of them who want to see things from a fair screen. They want to see equity. They want to see the common man, because the problems of Cameroon stems from the common man. Those who are up have forgotten that they were once at the base, and they are only floating. And we were taught that if you have a leader that is floating while his subjects are on the ground, that leader is just a leader to him and his kind of people, and not for all the people. That is where Cameroon finds itself now. Because, one, I would have expected a statement from MTN Cameroon and Orange Cameroon. They are also accomplices in this theft, because it's theft. They are also accomplices. And the only thing I can call the peace-loving citizens, law-abiding citizens of Cameroon is that Operation 100% boycott of Momo money and Orange money.
No, even
if it is possible, if it is possible, my dear people, let's take the pens.
How possible?
It could be possible. It could be possible. Before MTN money came and Orange money came, we were living.
Things have evolved.
We were doing transactions. Tah Mai, it is okay. Do you want to tell me that if MTN functioning machine gets broken for 1 month now, will not operate again? No, I am assuming. Let's assume.
There is an assumption that it's like an elephant to pass through the eye of a needle.
But Cameroon has succeeded to pass through the eye of a needle to host the Nations Cup. What are you saying? No, it's possible. But let me develop from where I was. So I'm saying that, please, let's look for a way to punish MTN
No,
and
Ben.
Orange.
No,
If it is
the
possible.
topic is not MTN. The topic is...
No, I'm saying they are accomplices.
No, please.
They are accomplices.
Please.
The topic is...
Please, in other countries,
has MTN offered a word?
No, of course.
Have they not been paying taxes to the government?
They have sent messages to individuals.
But MTN was paying taxes.
No, they have sent messages to individuals to indicate that it is a new tax and finance policy. And it's not their policy.
No, and apart of that, the minister or the director of taxes the director of taxes sent information to MTN, Orange, and Express Union, all the money to tell them that this is what the government.
Thank you, Barrister. Let me develop my point. So what you will discover with this tax Tah Mai is that we have many people who were jobless, and because of this Momo and Orange thing, gained employment.
No.
At one point, they will be forced to fall out of the government. That confirms again that this government is not for the interest of the people. The government in place is doing everything to make sure that the people suffer. This is the only government
Let me do a follow-up to you. You said that confirmed that the government is totally against the people. But
no, it's for the favor of the suffering of the people.
Yes. But let's be honest here. This bill went through the parliament.
You are still talking about parliament.
I'm coming. It went through the parliament. It went through the Senate. They read it. The parliament, the senators read it. None of these senators and parliament.
Raise a finger.
None.
You are right.
Even came to the people.
No, you are correct.
And said, dear people, this is what happened. None of them have even gone back to their constituency to educate the people about this same bill.
I agree with you.
Responsible.
And let me just.
I agree with you in total. I don't have anything to add.
Let me just cue from what you said. Some people said in the parliament we have the opposition, that is the SDF. But somebody hinted me that, do you know that when such a controversial bill wants to go through the parliament, the bill is prepared by the government and a copy is sent to the opposition.
Yes.
And the opposition, like the SDF, go through this bill. They go through it and they make propositions, send back to the government before the bill. Because this particular bill, no SDF parliamentarian or senator hinted anybody. It is as if there were things that passed under the carpet and they were just given to them, and all of them sat quiet. Because this is the most controversial bill that has passed in Cameroon in the last 20 years. After the 2014 terrorism law, I think that this one is one of the bills that have touched even the local man in the country. Because, Mr. Jarvis, Cameroonians are asking themselves, what is the essence of this bill that they are talking of taxes? Where Cameroonians, we don't have pipe bomb water, we don't have roads, we don't have good hospitals, we don't have schools. So what is the essence? It is this week like this in Boya that they were closing potholes for the car. So these
not only this week. Yesterday, upon returning
even now
from my 16, we were stopped. We had traffic situation because the roads were a bit blocked for potholes to be filled yesterday evening.
And these are some of the problems in other countries. People will say during the COVID pandemic, in other countries, the governments were giving support to citizens. In our country, no support was given to any Cameroonians. Back of rice disappeared. Our government, the COVID,
but the head of state has assured Cameroonians that those responsible for some of those acts will be brought to justice. Anyway, Barrister, on the topic, till now, no press conference has been given by the members of parliament, even the opposition members of parliament, the SDF that's in the house, to even grant an official press conference that, hi guys, this is what happened and this was SDF position.
To be honest, SDF has failed Cameroonians. Because SDF, look at the days of the 90s. I don't know whether they got tired. Fanny John, maybe because in the 90s, the 1992, 1980, even during the early 2017, when the crisis started, you saw SDF before this election. You saw them in the parliament with placards and peace. But things have changed. Things have changed. Can you imagine that such a bill will pass and SDF that we know did not walk out of parliament? All of they have their name granted all that press conference, even because if it was days of Issa Chiguma, because I have a personal love for Issa Chiguma. At least Issa Chiguma could have granted us a press conference. Let Cameroonians know, because this thing is causing. Because I am planning in the days ahead. I am a human rights lawyer. I'm planning to write a letter to the head of state, advising, telling him that if this bill can be withdrawn, now it has been signed to, and I don't know what can really be done. Because to be honest with you, this thing is touching on every Cameroonian.
Thank you, Barrister. Greetings to you in the studio. It is true that this country is not normal. It's not normal one because nothing is done right in this country. This is Phil writing from Boya. Happy Sunday to you, Phil. And this one says, good afternoon to you, Jarvis. We have parliamentarians in Cameroon. They are there to represent themselves and their families. I don't even know who voted for them. CPDM parliamentarians do what Bia and his group want them to do, not what those who voted them want them to do. The normal people in the quarter are suffering. Real example of a republic such as Barrister Su, writing from Thailand. Barrister Su, I'm sorry that I have to censor some of the words you use there. Hello, Max from Germany. Hello, Jarvis. The executive has has successfully shown to the world that Cameroonians are peace-loving people and not the regime of Yaoundé. Therefore, the MPs and the senators are not to be blamed, since they follow suit what came from the executive. Max from Germany. And this other round read, it says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Greetings, House of Commons. I think that the government should be blamed and nobody should vote for these so-called MPs in the years to come. And also, this other read, it says, I was expecting Senator Bella Mukichas in Boya to react as he has always done, but this time around he seems to be silent. Is it that he has decided to join the cabal? This is coming from someone writing in Boya. This other read, it says, good day to you in the studio. Please, if you are sending us a message, don't be harsh, because if you want us to read them, we cannot read insult on TV. Mr. Jarvis, panelist tried to. Okay, coming from Stanley. Please, I will send some messages. Mr. Jarvis, good. This one, Barrister, help us solve this problem and let us live like before. I remember I used to leave Boya to Limbe at any time. Barrister, help tell the government to be true with themselves and stop being so lazy in only collecting poor taxes, mobile money taxes. This one read, hi Joy from Bamenda. Hi Joy from Bamenda. I choose the government because the government have all authority. Joy says the government is responsible. This one read, it says, a good day to you all. I am Nango Moses. What do you expect from those who know? What do you expect from those who knows they are not they are not MPs and senators by merit, and a parliament that had never considered private member bill? Let us wait for God to rescue this country. This other read, it says, a good day to you all in the studio. Army, God continue to bless such people like him in this country. Thank you very much. Ndiwum Emannuel.
Yes.
Let's keep aside the obvious majority of CPDM.
Good.
Let's come to the few opposition members of parliament and senators we have. At least, even if nothing will change, is it not their constitutional right to come and tell us their position, what went on inside that house that we did not see? Or even to call a press conference.
I want to start by saluting what Barrister Ewule said a while ago about SDF, that SDF has disappointed Cameroonians.
Well, I'm not talking about SDF.
Listen, I'm coming. SDF is not the only person that...
I'm saying...
Listen, after SDF, we have another Nchupichem ALain called PCRN that they are there. Of late, they have been nicknamed the party of the selfies at the National Assembly. They go there to make their selfies. And the issue of the day is never taken into their account. Like you rightly ask, if they were there to represent the people, and like we have seen in the past, what stopped them from objecting this law? So that we see a combat to be convinced that they tried and they did not succeed. Because it is good to try and fail than to fail without trying. They failed without even trying. It calls to my memory what Abe Zongam, today of the CRM, said, and I quote, that in those days in Parliament, when a bill was coming in, like Barrister said, there were envelopes to seal the lips of the parliamentarians who were vocal. He said it, and the videos are there, the archives are still there today. And he was a member of Parliament at that time, even though with the CPDM. Let's not just say he said it today because he has changed the camp. But he is opening up to Cameroonians that this is what obtained in the glass house. When a bill is coming, they make phone calls first. And the bill is coming with envelopes. Those were his words. And I am tempted to agree to what Barrister said. If not, in this country called Cameroon, what seal lips is a brown envelope. If the brown envelopes did not circulate, what stopped them from shouting? We saw in the nearest past when Joshua Osi penned down his signature asking the foreign parliament not to interfere in the Anglophone crisis, of which many people are of the opinion that he is not there as an opposition. He is there as a babysitter. He is there as a babysitter to the main political association in Cameroon, which is CBDN. Where was he this time when the law was being passed under his eye, before his eye?
Even the controversial Nchupichem.
Well, I say I am very okay with Barrister. You saw those of PCRN. They came out, they were making selfies, and all they can do, they even on their Facebook pages, they have not even the niches and all of them, all go to their Facebook pages. None of them has offered a word about this Momo tax. Which means that
they are all happy.
They are all happy.
Even Honorable Galajera,
no,
but at least he lives with the people on a daily basis.
No. Tah Mai Jarvis, it hurts my heart, Tah Mai, to hear you tell me that even Galajera. Who told you that Galajera was there for his people?
No, I'm saying
people are the ones making some of these parliamentarians to be working on us, thinking that because you clap for people who do not merit the applause.
Okay, even Senator Bella Mokichas as one person.
No,
Mokichas has been doing so much.
People say
he has been missing for a very long time. He's on this platform that I'm even hearing him again. For quite a long time, I have not heard him. But then, let's not only talk about parliamentarians and senators and the government. Where is our civil society?
No, the civil society.
The rule of the civil society.
They recently had a press conference last week
about this same topic.
They denounced it,
okay.
And
it means that
Meti Aliscom, I was there alongside others.
I'll be honest enough to say that I was not informed on that.
Yes. Now the consumers association.
That's another one. They were the ones to take the front line. To denounce that our population is helpless. Please do something.
I want to just add it. We are in a country where any Cameroonian who raises his voice is termed a terrorist. So it is very difficult per our law. We saw how members of the anti-terrorism law had to catch on with members of the MRC political party. People who went out to protest on some issues that were touching on their lives in Cameroon. They went out to protest, and some of them were arrested and they have been sent to jail for tentative. Tentative, that is attempted riot. That is, they just attempted to march. Tentative de marcher. So you see the way our country, because attempt under section 74 is treated the same as a crime. So in our country, the way we are now, many people are even scared, because if it was in other countries, you see a lot of people on the streets. You see a lot of people on the streets who will be talking about it, who will be protesting and with placards. But in our country, if you protest with a peaceful placard and you're not protesting for the government, you are being considered as a terrorist.
Nobody, I want us to get this clear. Nobody is calling for a peaceful protest. But what people are saying is that people who had the legal right, the mandate,
the legal mandate, yes,
have not been able to even move to their constituencies to
even
sensitize the people that, hey, this is what the bill is. This is a, maybe we maybe, let's assume.
No, I spoke to some. I spoke to some parliamentarians, and they told me that some of them tried, but since as they say that the opposition have a say, but the ruling party have the way. The way. So it's difficult. Maybe some of them say they raise their voice, but since as the ruling party has a majority, they be well. But up to today, we have people like Kemendi.
Yes,
Kemendi, who are very vocal. He used to even send things, very controversial issues to lawyers. But this time, even Vice Kemende is mute. Honorable Nenche, that we know him, he is mute. You understand? So these are issues that we are asking a lot of questions. Yes, sir.
Let's assume, and let's assume that the law is so controversial that we don't understand what went on to the Senate and the Parliament. These parliamentarians and senators have secretariat.
They don't have. And these are the problems that, see, this is another problem that I am saying that how do you think that we have parliamentarians that are there to represent us, that are there to take problems?
They don't have where are their offices.
They don't even have offices.
To explain the law to their people.
Wait, our parliamentarians don't even have offices. No, you go to Boy, no parliamentarian has an office. And this is the problem that they have. They give the money for micro project and the rest. Our parliamentarians don't have offices. So nobody, where do they even take bills or people's problems to the parliament? They don't have offices. Okay. And this is a very serious problem. Very serious. Parliamentarians, they sit in their house. After that, they go to parliament. It's a problem.
Let's take on this break. We'll be coming back. Let's take on this break. We'll be coming back.
Desmond is asleep.
I want us to take on this break and we'll come back. You're welcome back from that transition. We're in the mood of African Nations Cup, what people call the competition that would determine the future of African football, controversial as it was when FIFA was saying they want a postponement and so on. Finally, it is here, and that's why you see me with my own vuvuzela. So Cameroon will be playing today, and also you see me with the jersey of Cameroon, the colors of the nation. However, you have a right to determine to choose your side and who you think will win. Joining us here in the studio is Mr. G. Lucas, who is coming all the way from the Southwest region, the town of legendary hospitality, former town of excellence. We're told. G. Lucas, welcome and happy Sunday.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Jarvis. It's a pleasure to be here on this wonderful day. I think it's a day where most Cameroonians are on their TV set, hoping to have what was given to Cameroon in 2014, and a lot of issues surrounded it, but finally we are having it today. I just got a message that it appears Messi will be landing very soon at the Ndiwum Emannuel airport. You know, I think some time ago on social media it was said that he too will be here to watch this African Nations Cup. I think that's great. Okay.
Since we are coming towards almost the last part of the program, I want to continue with you. The mobile money tax, Mr. Nji. You are a civil society.
Yeah.
The tax is now in effect.
Yeah.
Let's keep aside the obvious majority of CPDM, or the ruling party. Till now, as we speak, the senators, opposition, have not gone to their offices. They have not gone to their constituencies to even explain to the people what and how is the way forward. Is it not the people's right to even know?
Well, whether we like it or not, I want to say that we have a set of senators and parliamentarians in this country who do not indeed care about Cameroonians. A good number of them are out there. They know what we are talking about. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, when this bill was suggested in the parliament, for the fact that we did not even get the debate on whether this bill is going to be of good to Cameroonians or it's going to serve the interests of a particular person or a particular people, we did not get that. We have a set of parliamentarians whose interest is to go to where they are because of what they receive at the end of the month and what they receive in the name of micro projects, grants for micro projects. They are so contempt. A lot of issues are happening, but we have not had our parliamentarians who come back to sample the opinion of their people. Yes, I know in Cameroon it is said that if you are a parliamentarian, you are a parliamentarian for the nation. But we are not saying that you should be a parliamentarian for the nation and you forget about the people. Because those who made you to be where you are today, you need to think about them. Why did you go to the parliament? Which particular bill did you identify in time past? Which you thought of it and said, no, I'm heading to the parliament to transform. Every time we keep seeing piece of legislation which is not serving the interest of the majority. Yes, you talked about we should keep aside the obese nature of the House. It is obvious that whether it be obese or not, but the parliamentarians should consider the people first. When the government tables a bill in the parliament, the parliamentarians need to ensure that they inform their people. This is why I keep talking about Senator Moki Charles. He is somebody I admire so much.
Like this time around, we've not heard something from him.
Yes, but I think when I say admire him so much, I could vividly recall that when the bilingualism bill came into the House, he said, no, these are not things we should be talking about at this point in time, because the ground is still very hot, and so he cannot take this, because if he heads to his constituency, what is he going to tell his constituent?
He lives in the village.
He lives in the village. He is not one of those who live out of the village. He is where the people who elected him lives. He understands them. He speaks with them. He gets their opinion day by day.
With mobile money tax.
With the mobile money tax, what we need to know is that this tax was tabled in the parliament by the government. It came from the government bench. But the parliamentarians did not tell the people until it was promulgated. They approved it. It went through both houses until the president had to promulgate it. Today we are talking about this tax. And we understand that this tax, as many may want to see it, it is not just on a particular side. I want to say that for those who pay direct taxes or those who pay income tax, they have income tax. Because today you cannot tell me that there is anybody in this country who doesn't deal with mobile money. We saw cases of ministers whose accounts were hacked by some prisoners in Koringi. That would tell you that even the ministers are using this. But now come to think of it, those who pay direct tax, you have their direct tax that they will pay. Let me take workers of the state. They have the CRTV tax, they have the income tax, they have the VAT, and they have the mobile money tax. So when you look at this, what is the purpose of a tax? If a tax is there to kill a people, then it is not a good tax. Because one of the characteristics of a good tax system is that which helps to grow the people.
Yeah, because we know the canon of a good tax: flexibility, certainty, economy, equity.
Good. So when you look at all of these things, the 5 canons of a good tax system, you will realize that it is not serving the purpose. So I think that it is time for us. It is still not late. We heard of the phone tax, which they wanted to bring in within the course of a year. I think the president did something with that, and it did not go through. So I think that it is time for us to consider the people. Yes, this is all coming from the senseless war we are into, and the attacks we are having from Boko Haram, and the rebels we are struggling to contain in the east. I know for sure that all of this, but let me tell you, one of the highest places where we are losing a lot of money, which we are not investing, is the war in the northwest and southwest region. This is not an investment. Boko Haram, I contributed in 2014. My son came back from school one day and said, Daddy, we have been asked to contribute because we want to fight an enemy who is coming to Cameroon in the name of Boko Haram. I gave my son the little I could give to him, because he said every child is bringing theirs tomorrow and we want to contribute so we can support the government to kick out Boko Haram. We all supported that because we understood that Boko Haram is an enemy. But I don't see those who are in the northwest and southwest of the country as enemies. I simply see Cameroonians with different shades of opinion, whose opinion may not really be what you think. However,
we can come together.
We should come together because we are losing a lot. We lose the military, we are losing the civilians, we are losing the military, we are spending a lot of money into this. So I think that all of this is coming because the country is being milked out by things that ought not to be in place.
Briefly, let me just stay with you because since we don't have enough time. Briefly, Barrister Ewule, let me stay with him for a bit. I'll come back to you, Mr. G. Lucas. Now, let's assume that all of us Cameroonians cannot read and write and understand this tax system.
Yeah.
How do you explain a situation where a member of parliament who is voted to represent the people from Gokitunja, an enclave area, all those from Nakebole, goes to parliament, read this bill and vote for it, taxing the poor? Some have defined it as a tax where it is taxing you for being poor.
Well, I want to believe that the parliamentarians, like I said, they are already failing. Firstly, we need to understand that democracy is not just the issue of the majority. Democracy is not just the issue of the majority. You need to take into consideration the minority in a pure democratic system. Because the minority as it is, there is a universal law that also covers the minority. So whenever you are making certain decisions that has to do with democracy, think about the majority. Should the majority go for this? How do we manage the minority? Because the minority also could become a problem within the system in the course of time. Now, these parliamentarians, they failed woefully because they did not defend the people. And even to go back and explain to the people that right now there is a new law. It is rather unfortunate that it is MTN who tells the people, it is Orange who tells the people that, dear customer, as of this day and this day, we are going to start doing this because the government has done this.
Are you by chance saying that the members of parliament are not working?
They don't communicate.
They are not communicating.
They don't even have offices. Just before you come, let me say something. Do you know that there is something that is known as town hall meetings?
Yes.
Every year, members of parliament are supposed to do town hall meetings where they have a direct contact with their people. And in this town hall meeting, they get to know the cry of the people. They get to tell, they take questions, they answer questions. They get to tell the people government policy. They get to tell the person, they don't have offices, they don't have town hall meeting. We don't know the project they are carrying out. Nobody checks them. They do what they want. They go to parliament, take money.
No, but you cannot. No, excuse me. You cannot for sure say they don't have town hall meeting because we see them.
They don't have.
No, excuse me.
I am talking about Boya for the last 5 years. Let me land. I am saying that no. I am talking about Boya. I'm talking about Southwest.
Mr. Angie, let me.
They don't have any town hall meeting.
Excuse. You cannot for sure say they don't have town hall meeting because we always see them to come and share bags of rice.
No, that is not town hall. That is not town hall meeting.
It's a new form of town hall meeting.
No, that cannot. To add to what Barrister Ewule was saying, we have our universities and we have other higher institutions and we have students in different departments who write certain projects. Parliamentarians are supposed to organize meetings with some of these institutions where they get to sample and get some of these projects, this final year project and this thesis the students will write to understand. For example, there is already an article that would have been talking about what is the economy of Boya. It will help you to have the opinion you need to carry into the parliament because one, for example, let me take for example, if you get to meet a student who has written about a certain tax system, that student who is an accountant, who is studying accountancy at the University of Boya, if you take the final year project to understand what this student wrote about, then it will help to guide you. They don't organize town hall meetings. They don't even organize meetings with some of these institutions so they can even hear their worries, whereby they will carry the result to the parliament to understand what is happening. Our parliamentarians, I said it some time ago, that if they don't have offices, if they think their offices are only in Yaoundé in a glass house, then it suffices for these parliamentarians to apply and see what to do. They could put up an office in their different constituents, because if within your constituency you do not have an office, where would your people meet you?
But Cavaillé, we were told.
Where would your people meet you?
We were told that Cavaillé has an extension now in this area.
No,
the what is now? The question is, was it existing?
The honorable,
we want an official
member of
something.
Parliament, Honorable Fritz Njika Etoke, used to have an office in Tico, where you see his office there used to be located in Tico.
Let me explain something to you, Tah Mai Jarvis.
That one was his private. Yes. It's a very private.
It was there that the member of parliament for.
Let me explain something to you, Tah Mai Jarvis.
Okay.
Now, when you have an office and you are heading to Yaoundé, while you are in the parliament, your people could be rushing into your office to communicate
with you,
because there are things that, for example, let's take the case of this mobile tax bill or whatever, this mobile money bill. This is something which we began feeling the agitations why it was even yet to come out. And it sufficed then, if these people had an office, then the secretary, you need to have an office with a permanent secretary where the people go to meet this person for onward transmission of their worries to you. Because you are the one representing them. Yeah. Are you going to represent yourself and those who called you within a particular party? You are representing a people. So your focus should be the people. It is not about whether you had a private office. There should be a constant office. That office should not be closed.
Mr. Jarvis, just to add that I am somebody who thinks out of the box. I want Cameroonians to think of this. Now they pay school fees in the university, most University of Boya, yes. And this, they pay via mobile money. And the government have said school fees is 50,000. That is what the government has said. Okay. No addition, no subtraction. But do you know that students now, with the mobile money tax, mobile money transaction, a student ends up paying 51,000 or 52,000. It is a violation of the law, and if this thing is not corrected, I'll take them to court.
You say you're helpless now.
No, I am helpless when it comes to challenging
the
this
bill.
law.
But you are not helpless when it comes to the actions that affect
the common man. I'm not helpless. Yes,
okay.
Because the law says that school fees is 50,000, but the students with the mobile money tax and all of this, they end up paying 51,000, 52,000.
So you sue now?
No, we will sue
Ministry of Secondary Education.
Yes, Ministry of Secondary Education and even Ministry of Higher Education. We will sue them so that they should come and explain why these parents cannot go and pay the money 50,000, or they tell MTN or Orange, those who are receiving the money.
Sorry, I'm not marginalizing you.
They tell MTN or Orange, that you reduce your taxes, let the money be 50,000.
Okay. But yeah, Ms. Angie, everybody is clamoring that government 2% should be reduced, but nobody seems to point fingers on these mobile operators, because Ndiwum pointed that these mobile operators sometimes they collect 0.5 if the amount is lower, which is a bit higher for a tax system, and they see collect even upon withdrawal. But when you look at the other system like Express Exchange, if I'm sending money and where remit, I send and I pay the charges, you who receive doesn't pay the charges. But is it not time for Cameroonians to seize this opportunity and call the same persons to book? And secondly, we are talking about digital economy. Are we not selling the goat and keeping the rope? And say we want digital economy, and yet discouraging digital economy.
Yes. If you want to take a critical look at it, then you will realize that the companies involved also, they cannot go scot-free. Why? We should not forget that these companies, relatively, they have a very high bill. For example, if you talk about mobile data, if you talk about communication costs and the rest, it is relatively higher than what it ought to be. So I think that these companies also, they eventually too are a part to this issue with regards to the tax. Now, what you need to know here is these companies are multinationals, and as we all know, they are capitalists. But there is a particular person who ought to take care of you against a capitalist. It is the government. It is the state. The state has a responsibility to ensure that her citizens get the comfort they deserve. Now, we are not saying that together we decided to give the particular party in place the power to pilot the affairs of the country so that we should become a burden to them. No. We all accepted to give this party in place that opportunity to pilot the affairs of the country for the betterment of the people. So if these companies involved, for example, MTN and Orange, if these companies involved would not want to reduce their cost or the cost of sending and receiving money, I think there is still one person who could bring them to order. It's the government. And the parliamentarians and the senators are in charge. Interestingly, Barrister Ewule is making a very salient contribution here. I think it is time to call some of these companies to court, such that we should understand exactly what is happening with the people, because Cameroonians are not a tool for you to be toiling around with.
Okay.
If you pick up a nation like Cameroon, where you have a relatively young population, we have the government, which is the lone employer as it stands, because CDC, we used to be the second employer after the government in the country, has crumbled. And now we are saying that the private sector is not that vibrant to employ Cameroonians. And if you have the informal economy, which is going to be hampered with this tax so much, then you are saying that the last hope of the people, for those who are not privileged or those who could not have a job with the government, and unfortunately those who lost their job with CDC, you are now telling them that they should go against the wall.
Okay.
And where they may not even have a space to ascend over to the other side of the fence. So I think that one person still stands as the key. I want to call on the parliamentarians and the senators. I think it would be good if they should write to the head of state to explain the impact within the economy.
But they have voted again.
I'm coming. This is an opportunity they have.
How will you write it after you have voted the bill?
You cannot eat your cake.
No, this is an opportunity they have, because this bill came from the parliament, and we know that we are having an obese system here.
Okay.
And
yes,
the majority as we speak should be the one to handle this.
Okay.
Because the head of state has promulgated this already.
Okay.
Only him alone, as per the constitution,
okay,
could actually put a stop to
Thank
it.
Thank you.
So what do we do?
Thank you. Thank you. I want to say happy Sunday to you too. Enongene Eringwese, the latest couple in town, and of course, Madam Enongene Ara Ngwese. Also, Ndiwum Emannuel, we're out of time. Thank you for coming. The way forward, briefly.
Yeah, I think what this tax would not have made a lot of noise if had it been in the past, the taxes that were collected from other domains were well used and properly used. If they were well harnessed and put into projects that Cameroonians could live and see and jubilate, it wouldn't have made noise. The painful part of it is that the results of all tax collection in our country ends up in private pockets. Now, you also discover that the government's failure to be able to solve its problem when they are young, they always pamper the causes and then they turn around to start, fighting the consequences. Somebody said something about the war, the war in Norway. I wanted to say that the cost of training one soldier in Cameroon is very expensive. And then you imagine that in a day we lost 4 soldiers. That is something very terrible. And in the guise of trying to recover the loss, they try now to ask us, the low people, to pay it. I think the government needs to sit up and start doing things the right way.
Okay.
Because until then, we are into more chaos than what we are crying.
Barrister Ewule, thank you for coming.
I just want to thank you very much and to greet all the televiewers, wishing them a happy new year, a very happy and prosperous new year 2022. I want to use this opportunity to thank my learned friend, Barrister Mafani Victor Ngando, who is watching us from Boya, and Mr. Martin Efamba. All of them are watching us from Boya, and they are wishing all of us on the studio a happy and a prosperous.
We hope to have them too one day on this panel, because it's difficult to get your colleagues, lawyers on the panel. Sometimes they are afraid to speak their legal mind.
Or they speak with water in their mouth.
Lucas, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think if I were to suggest the way forward, I would be saying that this bill should be repealed. If we take this piece of legislation and go back to repeal it in the parliament, it's going to do it's going to serve better for Cameroonians. I think we should not forget the purpose for which you are giving that opportunity is to pilot the affairs of the country, but not to make the people cry more and forget about them. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity, and I want to say that it is time for young Cameroonians to come out of their boxes and let us put our hands together and see how we can take this country to a better place. I will still call on them to why not obtain their voters card. They should go down to the voters register. It is very important.
This is a booster now.
Yes. It is very important, because some of the things we are complaining, we should just prepare. When the right time comes, we will change them.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you too for coming. Those of you watching us this program, if you want to be a panelist, if you want to be a member of our panel, you can contact me on the numbers on your screen. I will send you the topic ahead of time. I will include you into the House of Commons forum, and I will send you ahead of time. This program comes every Sunday at exactly 12 p.m. and also rebroadcast on Monday at 9:30 and rebroadcast on Sunday at exactly 10:30. I leave you with this: no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you Cameroonians is that AFCON. Bye-bye.